Has anyone got a roving mic in their handbag? Yes. The war is on with our brains. We expect our brains to work longer hours than ever before. We expect them to be creative while sat in open-plan, distracting environments. We expect to be fantastic people, and yet very detailed, focused, organized people. We expect an awful lot from this organ, and yet we don't really know that much about how it works. So this morning, we're going to dive in. First problem that I want us to be aware of in the modern world is that we're not intentionally shaping our environments. So we are placed into different scenarios, and our external environment is hugely influential on the internal runnings of the brain. And so that's going to be a theme that runs throughout this morning, that this external environment has an influence on us. Takeaway from this is to, on the whole, when we need our brains in tip-top condition, minimize the need for self-control. So I'm not advocating never exert your self-control and never strengthen your self-control, because we absolutely need to. We need to encourage children to learn to exercise self-control and be restrained and be able to delay gratification. That's vitally important as a skill set. So definitely practice it when we need to practice it. But then in your day-to-day life, try and remove the things like the chocolate bars that are sat on your desk that require the constant need for self-discipline and for self-control. So examples in a more business setting might be, who has their emails pinging through to their phone? Yeah, most of us normally. Who feels a bit of a temptation to just check what those emails might say? Yes. And that might be a decision that you've taken that absolutely you're on 100% of the time and you're happy with that. A lot of the neuroscientific research suggests that that's not the optimal state for your brain to be in. Being always on can have the impact of sort of the cognitive impact equivalent to losing a night of sleep. To this, can I have the help of 4 volunteers, which I know sounds greedy, but you are such an engaged group. I figure I'd try my luck with 4. And I'll make it clear, they don't have to be willing volunteers. If we take this fictitious character, Ben, for example, in the morning, he's a fit guy, he goes to the gym before he heads over to work. And at the gym, he's making the decision of which exercises to do, how many reps to do, and which areas of his body to strengthen. Then he's on his next bit of commute, he's deciding on the best way to get to work, which way is going to minimize the traffic. He might also be thinking about which news sources to read, which articles to dig further into. He might be starting to plan the day. He might be checking his emails, deciding whether to file an email or whether to address an email there and then. Before he's even got to his desk, he has made countless numbers of decisions, and his brain is starting to be depleted. And he may be happy with that, and that may work, but being aware that every decision, whether we choose a blue pen or a black pen in an experiment showed that it has a cognitive impact on us. So actually, the encouragement, and again, we need to be good decision makers, but minimize decisions. The takeaway is to be strategic in how we create our life, our day-to-day life. Again, I'm talking about sort of if we're wanting our brain to be performing at its best, if we're wanting to have a day where we are in tip-top condition from a productivity perspective, what can we do? Well, it's these kind of things. How can I make sure that everything's streamlined? How can I condition my brain so that the environment nudges me into what I'll do? And sir, you were so kind as to point her out. Why don't you come too? The impact that just thinking about something has on the brain is really profound. And it's not something that necessarily we were taught in childhood. Most people would think visualization is quite fluffy. When I first heard of visualization as a medical student, I thought it was fluffy, but the evidence is there that it is physically changing our brain. And that's got big impacts, because what we think about doing is physically changing our brain. So we've got this really strong relationship between what we do and the physical structure of our brain. very famous, exquisite piece of hot cross buns. We thought we'd start easy. Everyone remember hot cross buns, or do we want a little recap? Recap, okay. Should we recap together, Anthony? We ready? Okay, so watching carefully. No, you do look a bit stressed, but rest assured, it's just a puzzle. It's going to be good. And how do you feel?
Well, I was feeling fine.
It's like a software upgrade. So we'd like to be able to focus more. Yeah, most of us, absolutely, actually zoning in and paying attention when we need to, and knowing that our brain is going to be present with us rather than wandering off on other things is extremely valuable.